and welcome to the 10th annual Beacon Dinner. I'm going to be saying a few words up here. I invite you to continue eating and drinking, but listen up, we've got some information we wanted you all to know. First off, I'm your host for the evening. Hello. Yes. My name's Matt Iseman, and some of you may know me from such smash hits as Clean House, American Ninja Warrior, or Sports Soup, or for those of you who don't waste your time on obscure cable channels, you may know me. I grew up in Denver, Colorado. I went to Cherry Creek High School, and I did my residency here in internal medicine, and I still consider myself a part of this community, and that's why I'm excited to be here tonight at this event. And I want to acknowledge our mad scientists we had out front. Paul Murillo, did anybody else? Anyone blinded by his laser pointer? He's the reason I left medicine, for those of you who want to know. I want to point out also, on your tables, you may have noticed some pieces of metal, some puzzles on there. I want to let you know those are brain teasers, and those are a challenge for you to get through. You may be asking, why do we have brain teasers at your table? I will tell you why. They blend Sewall's practice of play-based learning. And also, they symbolize the puzzle of genetics. Now, you may ask why we're combining those two, and that's because it's representative of tonight's honoree, Dr. Randi Hagerman. Dr. Randi Hagerman is Sewall's 10th Beacon of Light honoree. She joins previous honorees Professor Temple Grandin of CSU, Don Reaverts, the Colorado Rockies, Daniel Ritchie, Josh Blue, Judy and Joe Wagner, Karen and Jim Bissell, Millie and Del Hawk, and Gene and Walt Koelbel. We are here to join these important ambassadors in their support of Sewall's mission. We recognize the deep and ongoing links to the lifelong research of Dr. Randi Hagerman, Sewall's first medical director. The work of Dr. Randi Hagerman highlights a unique blend of pediatric and educational research at Sewall, both joined into one mission, providing the best practices of learning and therapy for early childhood development. Dr. Hagerman exemplifies the level of excellence we work towards using result-based outcomes. Now, those outcomes produce some creative thinkers. Both research disciplines support a very important philosophy at Sewall, and that is this: cultivating ability rather than focusing on disability. Tonight we have a unique gathering of early childhood and education experts joining us. We also have leaders from area universities, school districts, the medical community, business, and the Fragile X community. So right now, I want to identify some groups. If you're a medical doctor, raise your hand. Any doctors? The guy who went to Columbia with me, where's O'Brien? Raise your hand. There it is. I can't believe I have to berate a doctor into revealing himself. Aren't they known for their egos? If you work in an area school district, raise your hand. Denver schools? Any Cherry Creek schools? Just me. Okay, thanks. If you're a business leader who values early education, raise your hand. There we go. And if you're with one of our area universities, there we go. I'm going to party with you guys later. If you're an educator, current or retired, please raise your hand. 2 hands right there. He's very smart, an educator. These are some of the people who benefit from what goes on in Sewall. The Denver Museum of Nature and Science is a great place for this brain trust of early childhood development and supporting community. It's a great place for us to highlight exploration, discovery, inspiration, and humor. Randi Hagerman's lifelong energy and exuberance, her curiosity and drive to unravel unique puzzles is what we are celebrating. Randi Hagerman's very existence is one of inquisitive enthusiasm. Throughout the years, her curiosity has ignited that of other students and colleagues around her. She has a long history with UC Davis, where she's now medical director of the Mind Institute and professor and endowed chair in Fragile X research. She finished her BS at UC Davis in 1971 and earned her MD from the Stanford School of Medicine 4 years after, where she also completed her internship. After residency and fellowship at UC San Diego, she came to Denver. She joined the staff at Children's Hospital. She was also a research associate at CU Health Sciences Center and concurrently became Sewall's first medical director in the early 1980s. And it was at Sewall where Randi Hagerman first diagnosed her first case of Fragile X. That young man today lives in London. We're pleased to have a few of Randi's Colorado patients and their families joining us today at the table. So if you don't mind, would you please stand so we can acknowledge your presence here tonight? Dr. Hagerman. There we go. Those are just some of the people who have been touched directly by Dr. Hagerman's work. During the nearly 20 years Randi Hagerman was in Denver, she and her team, along with husband Paul, became a research engine of Fragile X. And it wasn't just Fragile X, it was also fetal alcohol syndrome. Her curiosity rarely left a stone unturned. As you'll learn later from Karen Riley, anyone who worked with Dr. Hagerman was also swept into tall stacks of reading, reports, and the drive for more research. In 1984, during her time as medical director of Sewall, she got to know Gene and Walt Koelbel. By then, Gene had already spent more than 20 years in her own tireless volunteer work as a second-generation family member dedicated to Sewall's mission. Dr. Hagerman reignited some new enthusiasm in Gene. Randi co-founded the National Fragile X Foundation with support of the Koelbel family. Randi and her team published key diagnostic guides to help physicians identify Fragile X characteristics in males and females, as well as giving them treatment guides. In 1999, Randi and Paul moved to Sacramento to continue their important Fragile X research at the newly developed UC Davis Mind Institute. Their work remains linked to the University of Colorado through the Fragile X Consortium. As of today, she and her team have published more than 200 studies. Periodically, we'll see her name in the pages of Newsweek, Time Magazine, and Forbes. We'll hear later about some exciting new drug research. I have to pause here right now to recognize the momentum of all this groundbreaking work that began in a humble early education center in Capitol Hill. It's had a big impact. In the early 1980s, Sewall's board and staff began to shift its mission from a rehabilitation and treatment center for adults and children with polio and other crippling conditions to a more education-focused mission. This transition still required a medical director to aid in the diagnosis and evaluation of children who had special needs and who still needed an education. The former affiliation in those days with Children's Hospital brought Randi Hagerman to Sewall, and it also began some important insight by Sewall's longest board member, who's also here today, Gene Koelbel. And we'd like to thank Gene Koelbel for all that's been done. She's acting embarrassed right now, but I know you love the applause. Me too, that's why I'm up here. Today, Sewall still has a dedicated board of directors leading the organization into the 21st century and plans for a new facility. As a private nonprofit organization, Sewall is governed by a volunteer board of directors, who with our Beacon Award honorees are the key ambassadors of Sewall's mission. Right now is my opportunity to acknowledge Sewall's current board members by having them stand. I'd like to acknowledge them all right now. Chairman Mark Kleiner. Vice Chair John Shepard. Sorry you couldn't be with us this evening, but we do have Treasurer and ex officio Chair Chuck Fish. Secretary Bill Holland. Dr. Kathy Lyons. Co-chair of the Capital Campaign, Karen Cassell. We're sorry she can't be here tonight, but we do have her son Jeff and granddaughter Cassidy, so we will give a once removed round of applause. It gets easier the more times you get clapped for, Cassidy, trust me. Stephen Martin. Kevin Conroy. Sean Priest. John C. Meeks. Jonathan Lurie. Vince Stanbaugh. like to acknowledge Lynn. He's actually a third generation of a single family to serve Sewall, so extra props there. Peter Tenstrom, who can't attend, but finally we will acknowledge Jason Waldron. We'd like to acknowledge all of your service to Sewall and the difference you've made. And right now, I'd like to turn the floor over to your chair, Mark Kleiner.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks for coming back to Colorado to support Sewall. As Matt said, he went to Cherry Creek. He and I went to high school together. And that was about the last thing we have in common. Matt has decided to go off and become a doctor, a big-time Hollywood star. And a couple of things we have kept in common is we decided to keep the same hairline. And we also both love comedy. So here's my one shot at comedy. The joke is, a dyslexic walks into a bra. I'll let everybody digest that for a second. So thank you all for joining us this evening. Many of you I have not seen since last year's vegan dinner, and for those of you attending your first dinner, you're here at the Denver Museum of Nature and Science for the very first time. It's, what a great setting. There's a lot of planning and logistics that goes into these types of events. And if I was responsible for the planning, I think my wife would probably tell you that there would be about 5 of us here, and we would all be in different rooms with some cheese whiz and crackers. Wouldn't work out too well, so I wanted to thank a few people that have worked incredibly hard to make this event happen. Pat Smith is our Vice President of Development and Marketing. Paige Eagle is our Development Assistant. Along with the rest of the Sewall staff, they did an incredible job, as they always do, of herding the cats and creating this great event. Board members like Gene Koelbel, Sharon Ernest, Bill Holland, Chuck Fish, and friends of Sewall like Aaron Shane, Penny Coyard, and Jamie Robb were all instrumental in getting guests here and putting together wonderful auction items for the event. So thank you all. Of course, last but not least, a big thank you goes to Heidi Hagerman, our Executive Director. Heidi is, as I've found, is a master organizer, salesperson, educator, facility director, IT professional, accountant, manager, leader, invitation stuffer, and I'm sure there are other roles that I'm missing, but she started as executive director a year ago, and I couldn't be more proud of the direction that she's taken Sewall. I think it's very appropriate to honor Dr. Hagerman this evening as 2011 comes to a close. As a researcher, Dr. Hagerman has to be a progressive thinker in her ability to pursue her professional goals of defining Fragile X for generations to come. She has to be incredibly resourceful to identify opportunities that can assist her in reaching these goals. At Sewall, we've spent 2011 with the same progressive nature and opportunistic spirit in defining our path forward for years to come. Since we've seen you last, along with providing our usual highest quality child and family services, we have expanded to include a transitional, inclusive kindergarten classroom. We have reorganized our management structure to add Pat Smith, Kathy Kavanaugh, and Melissa Wagner on the leadership team. That's okay. We're creating partnerships with universities to serve as a practicum site for early childhood special education master's students. We're also partnering with universities to implement cutting-edge programming to promote the social, emotional development of all children, including those with autism. We're also working with community entities to expand the number of locations we provide our services to meet specific local population needs. With the support of Denver Public Schools, we've added a satellite site at the Clayton Early Learning Center. With the help of the people at Clayton, we've been adding more Head Start kids at the Vine Street location. And we've also been completing a process of defining our future facility needs so that we can continue to provide the best possible services to all those kids and families that benefit from working with the wonderful Sewall staff. I don't think a single one of those items was on Heidi's job description when she started, but this shows how exciting the future is proving to be under her leadership. We're very lucky to have her with the support of her staff and the board of directors, building on Sewall's current success and creating new opportunities to assist the Denver community more and more. As important is the fact that we could not do any of this at all without the support of people like you, who continue to appreciate the excellent services Sewall provides. For those who are longtime supporters, and for those who are just hearing about Sewall for the first time, I invite all of you to contact us and take a tour of the center to see the amazing work of the teachers and the incredible kids that make up such a unique learning environment. Maybe you'll be as lucky as me. I stopped in 2005 to drop off some donations. They took me on a tour of the classrooms. I met a few people involved, and here I am 6 years later, more passionate than ever about expanding the Sewall footprint to meet the ever-expanding needs of the community. I hope you're as excited about Sewall's future as I am, and I'd like to introduce now our Executive Director, Randi Hagerman.
Thank you. Before Mark leaves, he is also a leader who does everything from chairing board meetings to deconstructing our annex site with jeans and almost a hard hat. So we wanted to acknowledge you and give you a foursome to Arrowheads for all your work to make the annex a great one. It is truly an honor to share this evening with so many esteemed guests and beacons of light for young children and their families. As Matt indicated, Fragile X was first diagnosed at Sewall in the 1980s. Since that time, Sewall's been committed to and continue to focus its mission on young children of all abilities in inclusive early childhood environments. We've been recognized as a center that provides best practices in the fields of early childhood, recognized by the Division of Early Childhood Recommended Practices, accreditation by the National Association for the Education of Young Children, and many others. Another program often unspoken of is our Sewall's Diagnostic and Evaluation Clinic. Formally designated by the healthcare program for children with special needs in the early 1990s, Sewall's team, including a physician, clinical psychologist, speech pathologist, and physical or occupational therapist, evaluates over 144 children with complex needs. Diagnoses include fetal alcohol syndrome disorder, autism spectrum disorder, attachment and attention deficit disorder, to name a few. And the families and the community leave with a comprehensive report and resources to help them navigate their future. I would like to tonight acknowledge Don Plum, our clinic director, and the clinic staff that are here tonight. In fact, I'd like to ask all the current Sewall staff, and past Sewall staff for that matter, to stand. all of us at Sewall with a sense of hope and effectiveness. Economic analyses have shown that dollars spent on a child before age 5 to improve his or her life produces a high return on investment. By intervening early, children establish the building blocks of social, emotional, and academic success that improve both their individual lives and the contributions made to society as a whole. By helping young children and their families thrive, we help everyone's child succeed and support the success of our future workforce. None of this is possible without the involvement and support of families. Without strong parental partnering in teaching, play, and advocacy, children are unable to achieve those same high outcomes. Parents are indeed their child's first teacher, and at Sewall, families have the opportunity to support one another in the parenting journey with community events such as meetings, festivals, trainings, etc. I'd also at this time like to recognize the past and present Sewall parents in the room that are Sewall's true beacons. If the parents would stand. It is my pleasure to introduce you to Maureen Ettinger. Maureen and her husband Bruce are the parents of 4 children, Henry, Harper, Everett, and Jansen. Everett and his sister Jansen just graduated from Sewall's preschool and child care program in May of 2011. I'm excited that Maureen is here tonight to share with you how Sewall has impacted her children and her family.
So thank you for coming to support it. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about our story of our family and how we ended up at Sewall. In 2006, my husband, Bruce, who's also here with me tonight, we were expecting a much anticipated 3rd and final child to complete our family. And at 2 months, we received the shock of our lives that we were in fact having twins. So much for our vision of having 3 and final children. So I remember saying to my husband, I'm just not sure I'll ever get over this shock. This is the most shocking news I've ever had. And 2.5 months later, that was challenged when we learned when I was 4.5 months pregnant with the twins that one of the babies would be born with a neural tube defect. He would be born with spina bifida. When we received the news, it was an overwhelming feeling because nobody plans to have a baby with special needs or to raise a child with special needs. It's something that happens to your family. And at that moment, when you learn that this is going to be part of your reality, everything shifts a few degrees. And everything about what you saw for your family and the hopes you have for your children, it shifts a little bit. And for us, I had an overwhelming sense that this baby was really lucky to be born into our family. Because we were ready. So we spent the rest of the pregnancy learning what life would be like, what spina bifida meant. Just because I didn't know, I know I read the words, but I never met anyone with spina bifida before we received Everett's diagnosis. 1 out of 1,500 babies are born with this neural tube defect. Has very different effects on every baby who's born with it. Most of the effects are mobility, and about half of people born with spina bifida have hydrocephalus. You've probably heard it called water on the brain. So Everett was born. It was, thank God, an uneventful pregnancy after those 2 bits of news. First the twins, then the spina bifida, then it was uneventful. So Everett was born healthy and happy and raring to go. I swear he started charming people the first day of life in NICU. And all the teachers who are here can attest that Everett is quite a charmer. You gotta see what picture's behind me here. So Everett and his twin sister Jameson came to our world. And at Everett's first day of life, he had his first surgery where they closed the hole in his back. Spina bifida literally means split spine, and so the way he developed when he was in the womb is it left an opening in his back. So his first day of life, he had his back closed. When he was 3 weeks old, he went for his second neurosurgery, had a shunt placed for hydrocephalus to put a little tube in his brain that would help his brain be able to absorb the fluid so that his brain could develop and function normally. At 2.5 months, he had his first orthopedic surgery. We just got to know lots and lots of different doctors and surgeons. So all of you doctors and surgeons and pediatricians are here. Thank you for being so nice to shell-shocked parents who are going through all of this. So on and so forth. I know I did some math when he was about 6 months old. Math that I decided I would never do again. I added up how many appointments we've been to in the first 6 months of his life and divided, and we've been to an average of 6 appointments or therapy sessions every week for the first 6 months of his life. So fast forward a couple of years, I'm amazed by this kid behind me who he never got the memo that he's different or that he has challenges. And we're looking for a preschool. And I started calling around and find out that even though the law says that facilities and programs are supposed to be open to all kids, that's just not the reality. And I was told that, no, a wheelchair really won't work at our school. Or no, we really can't, his medical needs, we can't really accommodate them. No, we don't have anybody on staff that can do that or wants to learn how to do that. And it was so frustrating. And then I heard about Sewall, and I cannot tell you what a relief it was to call Sewall and find out not only that they would welcome Everett, but they would welcome his twin sister. And that it was a school that is all about serving all kids, not just Everett, not just Jansen, but all kids. And then the classrooms are inclusive. I just have to tell you what Everett's doing in this picture. So we had a family from Sewall whose dad has these bicycles that he flips around and does ramps, and it's pretty amazing. And Everett was keeping a really close eye on these guys the whole time they were on their bikes doing full 360 flips. And when it was over, he wheeled over and was very determined that he was going to figure out how to do this in his wheelchair. So he's a very determined guy, and he hasn't done a flip yet, but I know that it's still in his future. And that's his twin sister Jansen in the background, probably trying to figure out how to do a flip on her own. So she's also very determined. So finding Sewall was a place for our family to go that was welcoming to Everett, to Jansen, to our whole family. So you know what Sewall does. You have it in the program in front of you. They do assessment. They teach kids. They provide training and continuing education for teachers all over the state of Colorado. It's not just the community of Denver. It's all over the state. And teaching the people who educate all of our children that there's something that there's beyond normal. That there's always more to learn about how to make your classrooms more inclusive for all children. The best part for Everett was our access to the assessments and the technology and the therapies and his physical therapists that would work with him in his room and not take him out into a sterile room somewhere, the physical therapist would come into the classroom with them and help them learn to do the things that kids need to know how to do in the classroom, and teaching them how to be creative and encouraging them to be creative so that mobility is a non-issue with him doing this thing in the home. So one evening last February, Everett had this very determined look on his face, and we were trying to figure out what he was doing, and all of a sudden he stood up in the middle of the room. He'd never stood up before. And I was so excited for him, and I said, "How did you learn to do that?" He said, "Katie taught me." That's his physical therapist at Sewall, and nothing was more satisfying than to come to school on Monday and tell her that Everett learned how to stand and she got the credit. So why would you want to invest in Sewall? There's a lot of reasons to invest in Sewall. There's kids like Everett, and there's kids like Everett who are always going to have different ways to get around, and he's always going to have special medical needs, but he is raring to go. The kid is ready to learn. There's all different kinds of kids like Everett who their parents and their families had to adjust their view of their future a few degrees one direction or the other. And Sewall is the place for them to land. Sewall is a place for kids like Jansen, Everett's twin sister, who is typical, if there's any such thing as a typically developing typical child. She's absolutely crazy and so much fun. But she was able to learn in a classroom right next to kids like Everett and everybody else who's at Sewall. And she will be a better person for it her whole life living at Sewall. She'll be more compassionate. She'll understand how to do friendships with all kinds of people. She'll be more understanding, and for that I will always be grateful to Sewall. Sewall's a place for families, and I truly believe this. After the first couple of years are really tough, and I got to the point where I was like, okay, I can put them in a program. I need to find a school. I need to find daycare. I didn't trust anybody. It was very difficult for Bruce or I to find anybody that we trusted to leave Everett and Jansen. And finding Sewall and having Sewall be a soft place for us to land after those first 2 years of Everett's life, I will never, ever, ever be able to repay the teachers, the program, the administrators, everybody at Sewall for making that a soft place for us to land. So I just leave you with the thought that families don't plan to have a child with special needs. They don't, when you dream of your family, you usually don't dream of having a kid in a wheelchair rolling along beside you. But then when your reality gets shifted, and that's where you are, having a place like Sewall where every other family there gets it, and they're committed to families growing together and learning together, and that you don't have to explain everything that's going on in your family life. That is the most valuable thing for Sewall. So thank you to all the teachers and everybody at Sewall who made that happen for our family. So now is the time of the evening where you're going to get to show how much you support Sewall, and I really appreciate that. And I just can't stress enough how much an investment at Sewall, and every dollar that you invest in Sewall is going to be magnified in ways that you will never be able to even dream of. Because these are kids, 2 to 5 year old kids, who are going off into the world and are going to be taking what they've learned, the compassion, the friendships, the extra boost that is going to set them on the right track for whatever school they get to next. And investing in the success of Sewall is going to make a difference in their lives and all of our lives, because we're going to have better citizens because of it. So please be generous tonight and know that your gift will be very much appreciated by all the families that have kids at Sewall, and we thank you for giving us a soft place to live. Thank you.
your generosity here tonight. The Editor family provides an important example of how Sewall works, the ripple effect Sewall's programs have, not only in the life of the child as an individual, but to the development and stability of a family and a community. Under federal law, Everett and other kids like him with diagnosed special needs are entitled to receive early intervention. However, those funds fall short of what it takes to deliver service. Your help tonight is an investment in our collective future. By supporting these children in their crucial early years, we can help them be better prepared for success when they head off to kindergarten. This early intervention isn't nice to have, it's a need to have. The sooner all children with special needs can be engaged into the world of their family and school, the sooner they can join the mainstream of other students. The ripple effects of treatment, the costs of therapy saved, then becomes a significant return on this investment in early intervention. It's only with your contributions that kids like Everett are able to thrive. It's only with your help that Sewall is able to provide its programs to everyone, regardless of any family's ability to pay for services. It's because of this need for philanthropic support that there is an auction at the Beacon Dinner. We're grateful to everyone who's purchased a table or tickets for tonight's event, but we know that some of you are here as guests of others. You may want to personally contribute to Sewall. Those of you who made ticket and table purchases may want to do even more to help the children who benefit with funds raised at the Beacon Dinner. So now, we get to have a little fun. Now I get to bring up somebody to help me who's from the great state of Kentucky. He went to the University of Kentucky, he's a Wildcat. Then he came out here to Colorado. He went to DU where he got his master's in public administration. He worked with troubled and at-risk youths, and as he said, his first group of kids that he worked with were some of the most difficult he'd ever faced. They were from Cherry Creek High School. In 1985, he went to Missouri, where he learned officially how to do the skill he will put on display tonight, and that is be an auctioneer. So please help me welcome Gary Koelbel.
Boom, 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 boom. All right, here we go.